Dragon Sword, the Blade of Light. Zero, the solitary wanderer, gripped the hilt of the legendary dragon sword tightly as it lay dormant in its ancient scabbard. The moon cast a pale glow upon the barren wasteland, illuminating the stark contrast of the gleaming metal against the darkness. He whispered a silent prayer to the stars above, his voice lost in the vastness of space. His heart raced as he drew the sword from its resting place. The moment the blade was free, a brilliant light erupted forth, piercing the velvet sky like a bolt of pure, unbridled sunshine. It was as if the very essence of the stars themselves had coalesced into a beacon sharp against the night. The sword, a masterpiece of ancient craftsmanship, crackled with an ethereal energy that danced along its length, casting shadows to flee like mice from a predator's gaze. The light grew, pulsing with an intensity that seemed to challenge the very fabric of the universe. The Shadow Core, a malevolent force that had cast its pall over the cosmos for eons, felt the sudden disturbance in the balance of power. It trembled in its deep, abyssal prison, sensing the approach of a hero who dared to oppose its dominion. The whispers of its minions grew to a cacophony of fear as they realized that the light they had fought to extinguish was growing brighter. The cosmos stirred, a silent symphony of anticipation playing out across the galaxies as the sword's light grew stronger, humming a melody of hope where there had only been despair. Zero, now bathed in the blade's golden aura, felt the weight of destiny upon his shoulders. The sword thrummed with a power that resonated deep within his soul, a power that had lain dormant since the dawn of time. He knew that he had been chosen to bear the blade, to shatter the chains of the Shadow Core, and to usher in a new era of peace. With a determination that burned brighter than the sword in his hand, he took his first step towards the horizon, where night succumbed to the inexorable rise of the sun. The cosmos watched, holding its breath, as the hero's journey began anew. The Shadow Core felt the first tremors of fear as the light grew stronger. It had not anticipated the awakening of such a powerful weapon. The whispers of its dark minions grew frantic as they relayed the news across the vastness of space. It knew that the time of its dominion was coming to an end, and that the light of the dragon sword would soon reach into the very depths of its prison. The core began to amass its forces, drawing power from the very fabric of the cosmos, preparing for the confrontation it had feared for millennia. The blade of light grew more intense with every step Zero took. It hummed a melody of battles won, resonating with the echoes of ancient heroes who had once wielded it. Each note was a testament to their valor, their sacrifices, and their ultimate victory. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter in response, as if they too were drawn to the promise of deliverance. The flames of gold danced along the sword's length, casting a warm glow on the desolate landscape, hinting at the warmth of dawn that was to come. The shadowy creatures that had once ruled the night retreated from the advancing light. They knew that their time was limited and that the balance of power was shifting. As the first rays of the sun began to break over the horizon, the Shadow Core's power began to wane. Zero's blade grew more radiant, cutting through the dark like a comet's fiery flight. It was a beacon of hope, a symbol of the light that would soon reclaim the cosmos from the eternal night. The cosmos woke from its slumber, stirring with the promise of change. The stars aligned themselves in a silent salute to the hero who dared to challenge the Shadow Core. Galaxies whispered the tale of Zero and his sword, a tale that would soon become legend. The voids of space grew less daunting as the light spread, filling the emptiness with the promise of redemption. And in the heart of the Shadow Core's prison, the first cracks began to form, foretelling the end of its tyranny. The cosmos watched in awe as the solitary wanderer approached, the light in his hand growing brighter, the darkness before him quivering in anticipation of the battle to come. The blade of the dragon sword pulsed with a fierce intensity, its flames of gold lighting the path ahead like a celestial road. The melody it hummed grew stronger, resonating with the heartbeats of those lost in the shadow's embrace. It was a siren's call to the warrior spirits of old, a promise of victory over the eternal night. Zero's eyes, once filled with doubt, now gleamed with the determination of 1,000 suns. He knew that the fate of the universe rested in his hands, and he would not falter. The Shadow Core felt the warmth of the approaching sun and trembled in its abyssal depths. The hero's footsteps grew louder, a thunderous echo that reverberated through the very fabric of the cosmos. The core had feared this day, had taken every measure to prevent it, but the sword's light could not be contained. The time of its dominion was at an end, and the shadows grew restless, feeling the pull of the light that would soon consume them. Zero raised the sword high, the flaming arc cutting through the last vestiges of the night. The shadow core, once an unmovable monolith, now quaked with fear. The cosmos held its breath as the hero took his final steps, the blade singing a song of rebellion, a melody of battles won. The moment the sun's first rays kissed the sword's tip, the shadow core's prison began to crumble, the dark energy it had amassed dissipating into the light. The lost souls trapped within were set free, their cries of anguish transforming into a symphony of relief as they were guided towards the dawning embrace of the new day. Zero stood tall, the sun rising behind him, casting a divine silhouette across the wasteland. The Shadow Core's power waned, its dominion over the cosmos slipping away. The hero looked upon the horizon, the light of the dragon sword reflecting in his eyes. He knew that the battle had just begun, but the tides had turned. The cosmos had awoken, and it was time to reclaim the peace that had been stolen from it. With a battle cry that pierced the heavens, Zero charged forth, the flaming blade leading the way to a destiny that would be etched in the annals of the stars.